Good morning and greetings on Sunday the 17th of November. This Sunday is marked by churches in the United Kingdom as Safeguarding Sunday, and that is an appropriate Sunday to mark this week because the Church of England has been again in upheaval over failures in safeguarding. And it would be inappropriate not to talk about these. I'm no safeguarding expert, and I don't know every detail of the reports that have been produced, although I've read them in general. But what I would say are there are a few factors that we need to remember. Firstly, men and women occasionally, but mainly men, in positions of power within the church and within organisations in the church, have been found guilty of abusing their power and of doing evil things. The report on Smythe is just the latest in a series of reports that highlights the way in which people, often charismatic people of power within the church, have abused their position, and they have done evil things. Evil acts have been committed on the innocent and the vulnerable, and there has been terrible suffering. And we first of all need to acknowledge that evil, that it is possible, that it can happen in churches. And if we're blind to that, we will be blind to looking for the signs of it. Secondly, so often when people are faced with this situation, sadly again, people don't show moral courage in standing up to it, in reporting it, and in doing something about it. And that is the second lesson, and the lesson for all of us, because we could all be in that position when faced with something as terrible as this. It's important to make sure that the appropriate authorities and the appropriate people deal with it. Thirdly, we must remember that the organisation, the church, the body of Christ, is not protected by us hiding the truth. Christ can stand the truth. The church can stand the truth. And if we truthfully and honestly face up to the reality of evil, then we can challenge it and we can change things. And finally, and most importantly, we have to remember those who are the victims of these terrible acts. People who have been abused physically, mentally, spiritually by the misuse of power and by the distortion often of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they must be the overriding priority of what we do. That those who are vulnerable, damaged, bearing the wounds of these terrible events are cared for, nurtured, supported in difficult times. Too often we have not been good at this. Too often we have failed in our responsibilities, for which we should be truly penitent. But above all, we must resolve to do all that is within our power to make sure that these events are dealt with, that the victims are cared for, and that we should do all that we can to prevent further events happening. This is not a comfortable talk to give, and I'm sure it's not comfortable to listen to. But our discomfort is as nothing compared to the suffering of the innocent. And we should be resolved to make sure that we do all we can to prevent suffering and to bring healing to those who suffer. May God guide us in this and bless us in our resolve.